So this is a Praxeological Framework for high quality, close to practice research, and it's brilliant. So I just thought I'd show you. This is clearly quite geeky, but I think you'll see why it's great. So these are showing you the things that you would need to be doing to be having really great research in collaboration with people with whom the research is about. So I'm going to tell you the things, and I'm going to think aloud as to how it works with my research, and there'll be lots of gaps, and hopefully those are the gaps that I'll fill in over the coming year or so. So the first one is power redistribution. And I am going to be doing research with people with profound intellectual and multiple disabilities, and the power balance in that relationship is clearly massively in my favour, because those people, first of all, they're users of really funky wheelchairs, so they are like physically where I put them, or where they are put. They haven't got power in that regard. The activities that they are doing are the activities that we have decided that they will do. The access to the world that they have is all dictated through us. So I have masses of power, and they have next to none. And so to tick this box, I would need to redistribute some of that power. How will I do that? I think I can let the activities that I offer be thwarted. Like if you say, if you push it away and you don't want to do it, allowing my plan not to happen is allowing them to have some power. I could look at how to give them more access to mobility. So like some of the people that I know, when they are engaged in an activity, the brakes of their wheelchairs will be put on, so they couldn't, even if like, I know one girl who likes to try and reach the controls of her chair to move herself away. So maybe you leave the control switched on, maybe you leave the brakes off so that they've got that power through movement. But there needs to be a lot more of it than that. So how else can I relinquish or share some of the power that I have in those interactions? The next one is reflection and action with others. And I love this one because at the moment, as I go in to do my research encounters, I don't know specifically what my research will be, because I'm aiming to do research like this. So I'm aiming to do research that it's not research I've invented, it's research that me and the people with profound intellectual and multiple disabilities that I'm doing it with, we will invent. And so the reflection and action with others, I'm going to be there engaging and interacting and just being with these people, and then I go away and think about it and reflect, and what I come up with will be different because I've been in those interactions to if I just sat at home or stood at home and thought about it here. So that's a really great one. The next one is values and ethics. It's a checkbox one. I have to go through a very rigorous ethics procedure in order to be allowed to do this work at all. So like, done my ethics, and not done my ethics, it's done with I can just hear people shouting at me. It's an ongoing reflective process, but the ethics is there. And then the values, the work that I'm doing is values based. So it's all about inclusion and participation and belonging, and all of it is about values. So it's not like I'm studying, why do you get spots on your nose or something like that. I'm studying a values based thing. So I'm good for values and ethics. And then the next one is non-orthodox methodology, which just sounds like fun, doesn't it? And I've got, you've seen it before, but I've got a giant blue egg. It's definitely not going to be orthodox, is it? So I'm checkbox for non-orthodox methodology. And then the last one is pathway to impact. And that's how we're going to take this experience from conceptualization into a place where research is invited into practice. And I'm studying identity and belonging for people with profound intellectual and multiple disabilities, which can sound like I've spent a year reading into the field of identity, and it can definitely sound like it's, disappeared up its own arse, or it's dusty academic shelves, that kind of thing, all the things that get all the accusations that get laid towards research. But there's a funny loop around that happens in that what I'll be looking at in this work is identity and belonging for people with profound intellectual and multiple disabilities within research and within philosophy, which again sounds like it's really distant from their lives. But that within philosophy, you know, philosophers sit around and create philosophical models about what is a good life, or what counts as a person, what does it mean to have identity and who can have it. And those things seem incredibly abstract from real life, but then they come right back round and slap you in the face with how present they are in the lives of these people, because they underpin things like the do not resuscitate orders that were placed onto the medical records of people with learning disabilities during the pandemic. You know, when people make a decision like that, they're basing it on these, the foundations of those decisions are in these philosophical models. And if people with profound intellectual and multiple disabilities aren't in these philosophical models, then the impact of those decisions on them, you know, if I went into hospital now for whatever reason and I needed resuscitating, I would get resuscitated, you know, because there's nothing on my records that says don't resuscitate me. And loads of people with learning disabilities had do not resuscitate put onto their medical records without consultation during the pandemic, because somebody went, oh, you know, they've got a learning disability, so we don't need to. It's just a shocking level of, and it's an identity decision, isn't it? They've based it on, they've seen that identity of them having a learning disability, which we think of as a master identity, an identity that eclipses other identities that you hold. They've gone, you've got a learning disability, so we've written you off. Just, and then you look at like the latest LEDR report, which is the report, the annual report into the death of people with learning disabilities in the UK. And the latest one shows that about half the deaths of people with learning disabilities were preventable deaths. They didn't need to happen. And part of what we need to do in order to prevent those preventable deaths is tackle the bias and the prejudice that those people experience. And so you look back round to research about identity and belonging done with these people, and I can check my pathways to impact box, but I need to do some work on the other boxes to make it really, really good. But it's going to be fun